Hi, I'm Jamie Hearn, and I'm super excited to bring you the Smart Girl's Guide to Real Estate. We're going to dig into tons of different ways for you to be involved in real estate. There isn't one size fits all, and what works for someone else is not necessarily what will work for you. So I invite you to explore, learn a lot, and go in whatever direction feels right and aligned for you. And keep in mind, it's absolutely perfect to pivot. What you choose today, you can always make a different choice going forward. There are so many topics that we're going to be discussing. I wanted to share an overview of some of them so then you can feel like you have a little bit of knowledge, especially for those people who are just starting to learn about real estate investing. I've been a real estate attorney for more than 2 decades. So I've seen a lot of different facets of real estate investing, which has given me an opportunity to decide before experiencing them on my own, which ones are best suited for me. I want to give you a little bit of the same insight that I've had the privilege of experiencing. So then you can work toward what fits best for you. Today, we're going to talk about wholesaling. Wholesaling is an entry level way to participate in real estate investing. There are some wholesalers who are experts and they've been doing it for many, many years and do really well with it. They have systems integrated and teams working toward creating this machine that generates leads. From a high level, the role of real estate wholesaling is identifying properties in whatever your niche is. It could be properties that are in foreclosure, properties that have landlords that live out of town. So it's cumbersome for them to manage them. Sometimes they're tired landlords, landlords who have been in the game for a really long time, and they're looking to start offloading some of their properties. Other ways to find leads for wholesaling is expired listings. Someone's listed a property and it's just not selling for some reason. Sometimes there are reasons that we're unaware of, like maybe there's no equity in the property and they can't get what they need to get on a sale. There's always a creative way to approach those situations, and today's not our conversation about creative real estate, but know that we will get into that over the next few weeks, especially as we explore the way different people deal with various topics, and their approaches are really creative sometimes, even ways that I haven't experienced. And like I said, I've done thousands of closings in my career. When a wholesaler approaches a seller, they are looking to get that property under contract at a price below retail. They get the property under contract and then they assign that contract to an end buyer. Sometimes there are multiple wholesalers involved in the transaction. That's called daisy chaining. It's hard to keep up with. I don't love the process, but it does happen. The end buyer is sometimes paying retail price or maybe less than retail. Every situation is different. It's really important for there to be transparency in these transactions. Lots of states are instituting rules against wholesaling without an active real estate salesperson's license in an attempt to protect consumers. When someone gets a property under contract and they don't disclose that they are going to assign that contract to another person, that sometimes creates a level of expectation and misunderstanding with the seller, thereby giving real estate wholesaling a bad name. There are some wholesalers who are amazing. They're absolutely transparent. They make sure all of the right things are in place and they get the job done in the best interest of the seller, the buyer, and they benefit as a result of that. There are other wholesalers who are not as transparent and sometimes try to make the deal look like they are, in fact, the ones buying the property when they're not the ones buying the property. And there's much conversation around the legality of wholesaling with a double close or trying to shortcut licensing in another way. Every state has specific regulations around the practice of real estate and how wholesaling is to be conducted, whether you need to be licensed or not. And sometimes you can do one or two a year under a de minimis exemption. Other states have an absolute strict rule that you cannot market the interest of a property that you don't own unless you are a licensed real estate salesperson. So it's super important to understand the rules and regulations of the place where you are looking to acquire these contracts. The rules don't apply where you live. They apply based on the jurisdiction that the property is located in. So please educate yourself. Make sure you understand the rules. Because if you get a great property under contract and you have an end buyer, and then title says, oh, we can't close it, you're not licensed in that state, that could create a problem for everyone. So you can hedge that by making sure you understand how the process works in the state you are looking to wholesale in. The second part of wholesaling is cultivating a really solid end buyers list. I work with a couple of wholesalers. I love working with wholesalers because they're doing a part of the process that I don't want to do. I don't necessarily have the time to do it. And they have really great charismatic personalities. So they're able to have amazing conversations with sellers that may not go the same way if I were to call the seller, because I'm a very direct communicator. I'm not interested in small talk or fluff, and wholesalers build relationships. So they've built a relationship with me based on that direct communication style. That is probably not how they're interacting with their sellers. So they're really good at that. So the way the process works, get a property under contract below retail, find an end buyer, assign the contract to the end buyer. An assignment effectively inserts the end buyer into the position of buyer, and they're obligated to all of the terms of that contract. There is a fee generally collected at closing. The assignment fee often is based on the contract price, and that is payable to the wholesaler at closing. Some wholesalers don't want the seller to know how much the assignment fee was. I think there should be transparency with that as well. That's when what a double close is utilized. So what is a double close? A double close is when the wholesaler buys the property from the seller for the contract that they have with the seller, and then turns around and in a separate transaction sells that property to the end buyer at a higher price. That higher price includes the assignment fee. So there are two back-to-back transactions, and the purchase price for the second transaction is not disclosed to the seller. There are pros and cons to that. It sometimes can be cumbersome and challenging, especially if the wholesaler doesn't have the liquidity to close the contract. But there is also what I deem a transparency issue. I want to know that everyone in the transaction understands how the transaction is working. And that's what I really like about the wholesalers I work with. They are transparent with all of the parties, and all of the parties understand, at least in general terms, the process. This process can be a little bit confusing, so it's important to make sure that the seller understands the general trajectory of the transaction. They might not understand all of the moving parts, and that's okay. As long as they have a working knowledge of what is happening with the transaction, that's key. Wholesalers can do really, really well. I know some wholesalers who are not interested in owning any properties because they're doing so well as wholesalers. So if this is appealing to you, there are many, many wholesalers out there who are doing such an amazing job and teaching how to replicate their systems. Send me a note, ask me for any referrals. I'm happy to point you in the direction of some wholesalers who you can model, you can learn from, and you can create an amazing wholesaling business yourself. It's not me, but I'm absolutely happy to point you in that direction because there is a really great opportunity for people interested in taking that particular approach to real estate. Thanks for joining me. And next time, we'll be talking about another facet of real estate investing that may be the avenue for you.